Hello, everyone. Here we are live, and apologies for the delay caused. We had some serious issues with the technical aspects here where LinkedIn shows are disabled. We welcome you to this webinar today. This is Sharul, and I'm the founder of CS Ventures. And sincere apologies for this delay and the technical last minute technical issues. So, we are bringing to you webinars with inspiring people whose stories have to be heard. So, today we are going to have a conversation with Hélène McArdle. Hélène is a confidence coach, and her story has to be heard on how she transitioned from working in project space into events and doing great work in culture and DEI aspects, from working with big tech to transitioning as a confidence coach. So now I'm going to bring Elaine on the stage, and grab your tea or a coffee and a snack and sit with us and listen to this conversation with Elaine. So I'll get Elaine on board now. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, Cheryl. How are you?
Sorry for apologies for the technical issues that we encountered in the last minute. So here we are, and we are all ready to have a conversation with you. And yes, so how are you doing today, and how was your week so
Good.
far?
Good. I should have gotten a coffee and a snack, as you said.
Yes.
All good.
Yeah, great. And recently, well, we have been looking forward to this webinar with yourselves, and we have been talking about it for a while. And yes, so just to kick off from, recently I saw a post on LinkedIn about your wedding in Vegas. Were you really married in Vegas? Because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So this was an exception.
Yeah, well, that picture is indeed
Mhm.
posted on my company's website.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I did get married. I did have a Vegas wedding with Elvis and everything. Yeah, absolutely. In the Little White Chapel.
In
It's
Little
a
White
true story.
Chapel. Wow,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. But what made you pick Vegas as a destination? What's the fun fact behind picking Vegas as a
Um,
destination?
I
Yeah.
don't know, being a little bit crazy and having
Yeah.
thankfully a husband who's a bit crazy as well. So we went and renewed our vows there. So like we were in Vegas, it's like, in Vegas, let's do it. Like,
Let's do
you know,
it.
like you hear on telly, it was fun. It was
Wow.
really fun. It was a very funny experience. Yeah.
Great, beautiful, beautiful. And there is so much about you, Elaine, all the journey that you have gone through towards your self-actualization and self-realization. I use these words quite a lot when I meet people who have been through that journey of transformation, and they have had a journey full of, it's always a roller coaster. There is always a bumpy ride, and then eventually you find yourself. It's almost like that okay, so I'm going to use a metaphor here. So we have a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. Yes, so I would say it as a metaphor that when you transform yourself and find your real purpose in life. So for our audience, I know I'll be talking a bit initially, and then I'll hand over the stage to you. But for our audience, I want to give a little flashback on how Ellen and I met. Early this year, we attended an entrepreneurial conference, and by luck, we were sitting beside each other. And I looked on my left, and I felt that I know this lady from a while ago. And then, as a peekaboo, I sneaked in and saw the name. I was like, Elaine, I think I know her. And then we just kicked off a conversation, an intro, and then I found out that we both worked in the same tech company a few years ago. We were the colleagues, and then I recalled from my memory that Elaine had been working quite a lot with project management, cultural and DEI related events, and as a lot of your role with the previous tech hub also involved coaching and mentoring at that point in time as well is integral to what you were doing. And then I found out from Elaine that Elaine just recently transitioned from working with the big tech to becoming a coaching entrepreneur. So it's been a journey, Elaine. So today, our audience will benefit quite a lot from knowing what this journey had been for you, of a journey of transformation. So I think now I will hand it over to you to 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 tell us how it began, how this transformation happened.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. No, it was funny bumping into you at the conference. I was like, I could feel that you're looking, on the side. I was like, okay, did she need something? And then you said, I think we know each other. It's like interesting. It's a conference with 300 people, and she sat next to me, and she knows me. So then, yes, then we went through our past roles and understood where we knew each other from. So yeah, so in the past, my last full-time job in the big tech, I was project management, career development for grads and senior and L&D and so many different things. And I think actually my last year in the role was probably the busiest and the most enjoyable in my career. And then boom, layoffs happen. I know it's a scary word, and a lot of people have been impacted in 2023. But really, that came out of nowhere, and within the first 3 minutes of a Zoom meeting, boom, my job was gone. So it's like, so that was the start of their journey, if you want to call it. That's really what initiated the transformation. But originally it wasn't supposed to be a transformation. I was really, really enjoying the role I had. So that was it's a bit of a shock, really. So that's where it started.
Yeah. So, yes, so it was thousands of people were laid off in the last few years, and so it's about coping. I haven't experienced the emotion in this way in my life. So, how does this coping mechanism looks like? How was this coping was for you? Would you like to throw some light on that as well? How
Yeah.
did you cope with that situation?
Yeah, and I think you said it right. You asked like how was it for me, and that's the important piece because it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
Um, and especially when it comes out of the blue and you were not expecting it. There was no signs, so that was really, really you know
Mm.
scary. It was a shock. Like that's what it was. It was a shock. And when I was told, my first thought was like, what's going to happen to the team? And I wasn't even thinking, okay, that's it. I have no job. So yeah, so like everybody will do it their own way and go through the own way. It wasn't straightforward. It wasn't easy. So I started looking at other roles, but other big company and tech companies were laying off as well. So it was a tricky situation. Like it was a lot to process, and obviously it took a while. But I was upbeat and looking for a job, and then I had a lunch. Had lunch with a brilliant person. Like she's a coach, leadership trainer, and I had been in touch, and I had attended some of her um, trainings, and I was like, I'd love to have a chat with you, have a lunch with you, and like I'm happy to help you in your trainings if you need any help because I love learning from her. And that lunch was quite a revelation. She was brilliant and so helpful and so upbeat.
Right, right, and so yeah, okay, that's very interesting. But even towards going through this phase in life and then trying to find that path, and it takes a lot of networking. It takes a lot of engagement and these lunches and these meetings with people who can help us guide through these phases. So it's never an easy ride. It's never smooth. There is always it's a roller coaster to reach a stage where you need to find yourself again. And while you are absorbing the shock of these situations, so tell us about what different steps that you took then after that
Yeah.
meeting with the leadership trainer. How did it influence the next steps that you took towards identifying, this is today where you are as a coach, this is what you want to do. So
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely. I actually that lunch was more of a networking thing. So it's like, okay, let's open the doors, open the opportunities. Um, but she actually went into coaching and consulting mode and all of that across a lunch, and she was saying, you know what, you can go solo. You could go and become a trainer, have your own business. This was a few months after. after being laid off and just like still in digestion mode. And she said, you know what, you're still on the hurt phase. I was like, she's so right. I'm still I'm still digesting it. This is not it- I'm not ready for anything. And she thinks I can go in business on my own. It's like this is a lot. So really that lunch was an eye opener. It's like, okay, maybe I need to pause, get out of the hurt phase, as she said, and take a breather. So like really that was getting close to lunchtime, and obviously the market was cold with all the layoff happening around. So I did a bit of gardening, did a lot of painting, went to Roland Garros, enjoyed the kids' summer and taking them to clubs and all of this, went on holidays, obviously did home improvements. Or I kept myself busy. It's like, okay, like this is the kind of stuff I love to do, and we'll take the summer and then we get ready to go back on the market and be ready when it opens again in September after the crazy holiday period.
Right,
So
right.
I was getting into August. Okay, let's get ready for September, and boom, got COVID. It's like, okay, so like, but not the, COVID, I have a cold. It's the COVID, I ended up in a hospital COVID. So it's like,
Oh,
okay. So
right.
I ended up in a room with a bunch of ladies, mainly older than me, and they were all in a bad shape. And obviously we were all quarantined, so I couldn't really go for a walk of fresh air or anything. But I got to talking and learning from their experience and learning from their life and sharing our adventures and things. And there was one lady, she was 100-year-old. And when she told that, nobody believed her. So she was so positive. And obviously, we all had COVID. So we were all in, half bad shape. But she was she was not afraid to ask for help. And it was
Okay.
brilliant. It's like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then when she needed something, she would ask. And so I would help when I could in the room. But I was like, this is so cool. Like she's known and seen enough to know what she
Yeah,
can do and what she needs help for. And I'm like, this is an absolute revelation. Again, it was like, light bulb moments here and there. It's like, you know what? And obviously, my brain and my body needed a long time to recover from COVID. That was a tough one, but that
right.
helped me
Hmm.
to recover from the hurt and the fog
Yeah,
phase. And I'm like, okay, this is it. I now need help. I need to go back into meeting people that are like-minded,
yeah,
people that are not just looking for a job, but people who like doing what I've always liked doing. So yeah, that was kind of like, again, if we were talking about steps, it's like things that happened, and not necessarily take steps I took, but
yeah.
steps were taken.
They happened, right?
Yeah.
So going from bearing the pain of the layoffs, then transitioning to doing the things that you really love with your family, and also to realize your hobbies and your interests. I think that's very important phase of our life, which we forget because of this corporate lifestyle and this professional environment that we are living in, and that everyone almost is doing the same thing. This is what I see. So we forget to take that break for ourselves, to take a step back, do the things that we really love. Maybe take a break, go on a long vacation, do gardening. Gardening is very therapeutic, very spiritual. Maybe go on a little spiritual retreat as well. That's what works for me when I feel I'm getting overwhelmed with my work and life, and there are so many tasks to execute. I go in a spiritual rehab, and that helps me come up with a different perspective and a clear mind, and I'm ready to take on a next step forward. And it's very important. So that's great that you that life and the universe took you to that phase, and that's very crucial phase to build a foundation again. And also, as you spoke about this, the 100-year-old lady, she you mentioned that she never hesitated to ask for help. I think that's what I feel right now in most of the in our generation. We lack asking, that the skill of asking for help, and we believe that we can do everything by ourselves. But that's completely wrong. I try and ask for help wherever I can. Only yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine. He gave me a call from India, and he said that Cheryl, previously I was a person I felt like I can do everything on my own, but now I try to be out there and ask for help. If I get help, it's great. I will move to the next step. If I don't, I can keep trying and see how I can, learn from people, take their advice, and get the help that will help me move and that will help me facilitate. So yes, so asking for help is absolutely what we all should do more often. Yeah, I loved yeah, that transition of how this journey had been so far. Okay, so Helen, carry on. We would like to hear more on what was up next after you've met this 100-year-old lady. Now
Yeah.
you're recovered from COVID. You came back home. So what was up next?
Yeah.
Mhm,
I think it was a lot about reframing.
mm,
So, like
mm.
but again, you're big into pictures, so I'll paint a picture as well.
Okay.
When
Yeah.
people say I've hit the wall, so at the end of
Mm,
it, I've hurt my
mm,
face, I hit the wall, and I started thinking through
mm.
reframing things
Okay.
and reframing in a way. And if you think about reframing that I've hit the wall, if you look at swimmers,
Mm,
so when they do several lanes, so they go one lane, and what do they do when they get to the wall? They hit the wall to bounce quicker the other way. And that's what I was like. I saw that image, and I'm like, this is what I need to do, because there's no point in just being stuck. So
yeah,
I started. So I was still applying for roles, and hoping that September would bring the perfect role. Then realize, well, the perfect role is not out there. My ideal role is not either, but I know what it would feel like to have that ideal role. So it's like, no,
yeah.
what? I'm going to make it myself. So I decided to make my own role. And I still had that lady, that coach from my lunch, like, you know what? You could go solo. You know what? You could do it yourself. Like, if he says it, that
Right.
there's something there. So this is where I went. And I got my inner leadership out and went entrepreneur, solopreneur, but really I'm self-employed. So I went and was like, this is it. So I'm gonna create my own role,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna upskill. So as I was saying, I needed people, with the same frame of mind, of
Yeah.
like-minded people. So I went and I upskilled and got, papers that said that I could do the job I've been doing. So I got a certification in project management. I had been doing it for years, but at least now I have a paper to say that I can. And I started also a professional coach and mentoring qualification. And that was, and attended loads of conferences and did my networking again. And all of those, small actions and small, saying yes to opportunities really went and took me open different doors and helped me in many many ways. And one of those
Right.
conferences indeed where we
Yeah.
met.
Right. But Elaine, so you have chosen coaching for yourself, but why? Why did you end up deciding or, reaching that conclusion that this is the field for me, this is a space for me? Uh, br- uh, yeah. So we have heard you talking about your previous experience, but ultimately, what made you believe that this is my next path? This is my next purpose. Would you like to
Yeah,
reflect on that a bit?
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was actually originally, so within my previous job, so two big tech companies, I had been coaching and mentoring people at different level. And it's like, so okay, I'm gonna do that qualification. It's gonna get my brain going, and I'll tick the box that I can do it. So originally it was just a tick the box exercise, and then I actually realized that there was a lot of things I thought coaching was that
Okay.
it wasn't the case. So I went through a process of unlearning what I thought I knew,
Yeah.
and um, and then re-engaging the brain and learning new things. And so I actually went through a lot of the messages that I received after the layoff. So, my LinkedIn went crazy. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? This, you helped me so much, and things like that. There was so many stories of growth and transformation and helpfulness, etc. I was like, this is actually really what I love doing. So I did,
Okay.
I took the plunge, and I created professional confidence services. So that's the company, and I'm offering recruitment services. I'm delivering professional skills training and indeed coaching. And the coaching thing was really like, now I realize how much helpful can coaching be, and I understood the difference between mentoring and coaching a little bit more. And
Okay.
professional confidence services really, um, it's all the bits that I liken to, from my previous job, and all bundled together, because a lot of the time, and that's where I was, before, as you said, the journey. Um, Often people, all they need is a little boost of confidence. Somebody to say, you know what, you can do it. Like that lady at lunchtime, it's like, you absolutely can do it. And so really, um, sometimes it's realigning, learning new skills, or having that little push to, you know, stretch your confidence and your comfort zone, or
Sure.
realigning with your own self and what you like to do, and getting a new boost, like a puff of fresh air into your
Yeah.
own current career life.
Definitely, definitely, Elaine. Elaine, you have also mentioned coaching and mentoring. So, can you also explain the differences in coaching and mentoring? Because at times, even I get confused. And right, do I get a coaching or what's the difference in mentoring?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'm talking to a mentor, another time I'm talking to a coach. So, yeah, if you can elaborate a bit on that
Yeah,
too.
and some people need a bit of both, and some people need one
Yeah.
rather than the other. So so there's very elaborate definition, but I'm just going to try and make it simple.
Okay.
So really, the mentoring is a mentor is somebody who shares their experience. So they've done things, they've seen things, they have some specific experience, and then they share it, and then the person being mentored, then they learn, or they hear, they listen, and then obviously they take action and do whatever they want with
Okay.
that learning. And the coaching piece is, it's a lot about listening. So if you seek a coach, like if you go to a coaching session, how can I make it simply?
Yeah. So,
It's
if you
it's
go to a
it's
coaching session,
yeah, it
101
that's it.
session.
So
Or, Mhm.
it's a space to hear you think, to
Okay.
hear yourself think. When everything is crazy and so loud around you, it's like, oh, I can't hear myself think. Well, the coach does that. It
Yeah.
gives you that space to help yourself listen to your own thought process and get to the conclusion, and get to the next step in the moving forward that is
Oh,
needed. So there's different type of coaching. So some people go and seek life coaching and all of this. I'm more on the professional and career coaching. So some clients can come and ask for, public speaking, um, coaching, um, exercise and tips. So in that case, there's a little bit of me sharing my experience. So that would be a little bit of mentoring, but also a lot of listening. Okay, what's stopping you? Is there
yeah.
anything nagging you in the background, and help them figure it out for themselves? Um, so it could be anything in the professional environment. So like preparing for the big negotiation, preparing for speaking in public, an interview, a promotion, and anything like that where um, you need you need help thinking through your next move, your next step. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes, that definitely makes
Okay.
sense. Absolutely. So I think at times for my friends and my colleagues, I'm a mentor in this aspect. Okay, cool. So Elaine, we were talking about that we would organize a workshop to help people build the leadership confidence. Because when I spoke to you, when I heard your story, and how you have become a successful coach and all the great work that you're doing in improving and impacting people's life, so we decided that we are going to go ahead and do a workshop. So, shall we talk about this workshop, leadership confidence, and what are we going to do as a part of this workshop?
Sure, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's leadership confidence is your own leadership. So it could be, career confidence, it could be anything that you want to bring into your professional next step journey. So it doesn't have to be a drastic transformation, or it could be a, you know, from
Yeah.
layoff to to doing something new. But it
Yes.
really is about it it's about taking ownership. It's potentially reframing. So the workshop, as we were discussing it, we really wanted to really want to make it hands-on. So it's about reframing and being ready for your next move. So first, understanding your next move, understanding who you are, what you want, what you like, what's important for you. Is there, as we said, that nagging feeling, some, the self-limiting beliefs or anything like that are just like saying, it's maybe not the right time. It's maybe so really reframing everything, understanding where you are, and then going for the next step and
Yeah.
finding the sweet spot. So there's a Japanese term called ikigai, which is basically all those elements in from life. So what you like to do, what you're good at doing, what brings money, what brings joy, and all of those things coming together. The middle of it is that sweet spot.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
ikigai. So like it really is about finding that and moving forward with it. So,
Yes. And that's a part of
so all
real
those,
happiness. Hmm.
yeah, that's it. And so,
Celebrating
and
the
but then
happiness.
it's what? How do we make it happen? Doesn't hope happen overnight. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, I have it. I know what it is, and that's it. No, I know what it is, and how am I going to make it happen?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's the
Wow.
next steps. It's the taking action and drafting the process and the next steps.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think I'm at that stage where I need to find my ikigai again. I have been through. I'd say that I think it's been the life goes on in different transitions, and we are constantly evolving, and so do the goals changes as well. I feel that that sweet spot for me have changed as I have evolved and as I have gained more experience of learning from people, understanding different cultures, and as I explored more opportunities. My sweet spot evolved from time when I was a 10-year-old kid. My sweet spot was very different, and in my 20s and in 30s now, I think I need to build a new definition of sweet spot. Do you believe in it? Do you think that our ikigai, our sweet spot, changes and evolves? What
Yeah,
is your yeah? Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
try and understand when I was figuring out
Mm-hmm.
what studies I wanted to do, it would have been quite different. Who I am as a person, my inner me and the fact that I love helping people and getting energy from people, etc. I think that's probably not that hasn't changed very much, and I'm not sure it's going to change much. Um, but yeah, elements would change throughout. So this is why seeking coaching or going and thinking things through can actually help for this point in time. And it could be a specific goal that you have in mind, but everything links together. And
Sure.
a coaching session that you're having now and a coaching session that you're having in 3 months or 6 months could be very, very different because your frame of mind is in a different place, and your goal is in a different place. Your life story might have changed a little bit. So it is, yeah, it's absolutely an ongoing
Certainly. So,
journey.
right, absolutely, absolutely, Nate. So, now as you are a professional coach and you're an entrepreneur in this space and you're helping people, would you share with us some success stories that can make a huge impact on people who are listening to us? And would you have some success stories to share?
Yeah,
A glimpse of them? Yeah.
yeah, it's because I have many, but I've been asked if I could share
Yeah.
their experience. It's really it's a very personal journey.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of confidentiality around it.
Yes.
But there's a person that come to mind, and I actually touch on both mentorship and coaching. And we were talking about career and personal branding and how you show up and how you can influence what people are saying when you're leaving the room and all that kind of things. Um, and so I just shared some tips. I shared some experience. I shared known techniques and methodology, etc. So that would be a bit more on the mentoring side. And so the person um, listened and took notes, and I think there was a bit of a revelation and light bulb moment kind of thing. But then, and then we worked on what actions to take to make this happen, and that's more the coaching part because it's the actions that not what the book says, but the actions that make sense for their own career, for where they are at this point in time in life. Um, and it
Mhm.
really, coaching is about forward looking, it's a forward mindset, and it's about taking action. So action really leads to moving forward and to results. So that person took action, and it's not within the coaching session. It's whatever happens after the session. It's whatever happened after the thought process and the chat. And that person really is thriving. It's amazing, and her brand and what she's doing with her career is so her. It's absolutely her. Like it's not, it's not a logo,
Yeah,
it's not a
true.
poster. It's
Mhm.
absolutely her, and she 100% shows up as she is. And yeah, so
This is
she keeps
amazing.
talking about when we had that chat. So hopefully she won't mind me talking about it. And this is why I won't name her, but she'll recognize herself.
This is incredible because yesterday I was in one of the spiritual retreat session. It went on from 6 to 11 and I met some very amazing people there. And one of the girls I met there, we were talking about, what's the purpose of life? What's your spiritual belief? Where are you in your journey? So she tells me that she has found one of her gods, that is confidence. Yeah, so and honesty. She mentioned something very unique, which I haven't heard from anyone so far. She says that she has found her two gods already, and that is honesty and confidence. And it left me very impressed. And the way her persona was, it was full of honesty, it was full of confidence, and it was so authentic. So just when we're talking about confidence, building confidence here, and you have just shared this example of success story of this person who is so original, so real, and so authentic. This girl I spoke to yesterday came in my mind, and she's from Galway, but originally, she comes from America and bringing Chinese ancestry. She was very culturally equipped. She lived with Native Americans. She had several experiences of different ethnicities as well. But it was so nice to hear her talking about honesty and confidence. And it could reflect in her personality. Beautiful. It was so
Very
beautiful.
good.
And yes, so now going back to the confidence workshop that we are planning to do. So you have mentioned that in this workshop we are going to be doing some reframing of how we perceive things, and from there on we will move into identifying the sweet spot, ikigai. Um, can we talk a little more in depth about how these workshops will be, what steps and process we will go through? Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah. So the big thing is going to be hands-on. So if you're ready to, draft something and have something, an action plan, then the workshop is for you. So it's a pen and paper kind of thing, and a lot of chatting and a lot of thinking through. So
Okay.
depending on the audience, and we'll probably do a little bit of a needs assessment and that kind of stuff, and we'll adapt. But yeah, there'll be step, but the big thing is really hands on. And I think if we think, don't worry too much about the word leadership and the word confidence. Like even the most confident person has one or two things that they're worried about and they're not super confident. So,
Yeah.
was I confident about what I'm doing 6 months ago? Well, maybe not. When am I
Yeah.
am I confident about helping in math homework? Well, maybe not. So there's always things that. Um, so don't worry too much about the words. If you want to move forward, if there's something that is blocking you, or you think I'd love a boost, I know
Yeah.
I'm good at this, but I want to be better. So really, it's about individual journeys, and that workshop will have steps that each individual person can take for themselves, and take on their own, with their own definition, and for themselves. So it's uh, it's tricky, but it'll be tailored by for individual needs.
Right. Okay. Right, Elaine. And as you've mentioned that you've just mentioned that even the most confident person in the room has things to improve on. Since we are not perfect, and we all are not perfect, we always have a room to grow and evolve. We are constantly evolving, and when we look at people who have already accomplished and are on that journey, I think it's easy to make that progress quickly with obviously a coach's presence and guidance through these workshops. And I also wanted to mention is that recently I've met a few people who are trying to find their purpose of life, and also some of those who I feel have been um, following and chasing what most of us are doing. And I think it's we all need to find our sweet spot. And again, we talk about rat race. We talk about that most of us do what's standard to do, and we might do something which other person is doing, but it might not be our essence to what we love to do. So I think it's I completely believe that it's important to find that ikigai, that's your essence, and build on those essence that this workshop will help us identify, and continue putting effort and energy into that path. Yeah, I hope I said it right.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I absolutely, yeah, absolutely agree. And
yeah,
sometimes
mhm,
doing what everybody else is doing works.
yeah,
And because you have a good reason why you're doing it, like not just because everybody else is doing it, but actually I'm interested and it works, etc.
yeah,
So it's about feeling happy with what you're doing and reframing it in your own personal
true.
way and for your own personal needs at this point in time
Yeah.
in your life, really.
Right, absolutely. Beautiful. And yes, so I think for our workshop that we are planning, so for our audience, if you're needing a boost in your confidence and if you're at a stage where you need new perspective and you feel you are saturated at some point in your career and you're ready to take that first step, you're ready to move forward and you need some tools and techniques and a coach to help you identify that sweet spot and help you reframe the current perspective. So reach out to us. Send your comments and let's stay in touch. And we will soon organize a live workshop with Elaine, and we look forward to inviting you to the live session very soon. Elaine, is there any last minute thoughts that you would like to share, or any important aspect of this webinar today that we missed out on? Um,
No, I think we covered it. I think I should
yeah,
could chat to you much longer. If we can have our
yeah,
coffee chat and catch up again soon.
sure.
But yeah, I think it's all about taking action, and we said
Yeah,
that several times. So it's always there's a quote from the
yeah,
painter Van Gogh that comes to mind. Is like great things are done by a series of small things brought together. So it
definitely.
doesn't have the big picture, doesn't have to be scary as long as we take one step at a time, small things after another, and bringing them together. That's brings the journey and the move forward.
Absolutely. It this quote resonates completely with my life, and I love Van Gogh. I love all his quotes. I have so many things as a souvenirs I have collected from my different travels to Van Gogh's exhibitions, immersive reality. So I have heard of the quote before, and his quotes resonate so well with me. Especially great things are done by a series of small things being brought together. It applies so well in my own life. Lovely, Lane, and we look forward to scheduling a live session with you to help people discover their real potential and ikigai. And thank you, Elaine, for your time today. And we will catch up soon. We will do an interesting session, another session very soon. And thank you for our audience for listening to us. And please watch this session, share this session with your connections, and help us expand the reach of this webinar today. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye bye, Elaine. Okay, so gotta end. Thank you all. Take care. Bye bye.